and welcome to a new video where I ramble about something that I don't quite understand. And today we're talking about toxic boy moms because I don't exactly understand what's going on there, so we need to dive into that. And I have a feeling that I'm not gonna like it, but maybe there's something behind there that actually makes sense and is nice in a way or something. So we'll need to see about that. I've gotten as far as why on earth do people not understand the difference between a relationship with your child and a partner? Like, that's what I've seen from watching other reaction videos on this, which I've done because I like watching them. But yeah, we need to dive into this. But maybe the reaction people are wrong about this. Maybe there is something nice behind this, and maybe it's not at all like this. We'll find out. Before we get started though, I'm putting myself through art school, and that's hard but fun, and I'm learning a lot, which is kind of the point of going there. But it's hard sometimes, logistically speaking. And you can help me with that by subscribing and watching my videos if you like them, and I would appreciate that a lot. I'm trying to gather 1,000 of you by the start of summer, and we're well on the way, so thank you for that. And I would love to have you on this journey with me. That would be nice. And also, I'm running a special action in my web shop right now where you can get crocheted stuff like this guy and other plushies, and you can also commission me by DMing me on Instagram with this handle. And I also sell my book or zine, thick zine, A Cup of Dopamine about ADHD. And the special action is that I misprinted a few other zines that are small but very nice. They're still readable, or there's no text at all actually. Like, there's, including the title and stuff, less than 10 words, but it's cute drawings, and I don't have it with me right now. I don't want to see them anymore because I've looked at them for too long and I misprinted them, so they're kind of wonky but still cute. And special action thing is that you get one for free whenever you would order something or commission something. The reason is that I don't want to see them anymore, so you can get one for free. And I might also maybe leave some of them on train stations. That's probably not relevant for you, but maybe some people will like them. Alright, now let's get children on the internet. Like, I know that that's not even the topic of this video, but I need to say it, and I will keep saying it because people on the internet are creepy, a lot of them, and you see stuff, not specifically maybe with this video, I haven't looked at that, with extra saves and extra likes and stuff from young children, often young girls, being saved those videos, and that's very creepy. You shouldn't put your children on the internet like that. Also, they don't have any agency of what is shown on the internet because they do not understand yet what it means to be on the internet. Like, I am an adult. I can choose to be on the internet. I choose to say these things here on the internet. It's a conscious choice. I think about it when writing my videos. I think about it when filming my videos. I think about it when editing my videos. That's already 3 separate times that I think about what exactly I'm putting on the internet, and children don't do that because they're too young to understand. So until everyone stops doing this, which probably will be never, sadly, at least not in the world we live in today, I will not stop saying this. I will not stop pointing it out. Stop putting your children on the internet. Okay, let's move on. This video is such a mess. It's obviously not just about the mom getting replaced by a mini-me. I certainly hope not. First of all, your child is not yourself in a different font. It's a whole other person with a whole different lot of interests, looks, whatever, everything. Child is a different person. It's just not you in a different font. That's the feeling I'm getting from this. This thing becomes a bigger problem if you frame it like this, because the father of a girl child should never look the same at the child or see the child as a sort of mini version of his, in this case, wife, because that's outright creepy. The child cannot replace her mom, you know? That's weird. To even think of that is weird. And also, this also works in any combination or vice versa or whatever. You should just never look at a child like that, because that's just very, very creepy. And the other thing is doubling down. Like, I know this is meant to be kind of a joke because you cannot decide what your child is going to look like or which gender your child's going to be assigned at birth, so it's kind of a joke, but it's still weird. Like, it feels like she's thinking that, oh, my husband is doing this kind of weird thing right now and I'm jealous of my child, so I am going to do this very weird thing too right now to make him jealous too or something. Being sort of jokingly jealous of your child's relationship with your husband is concerning on very many levels. If the relationship is close in a way that you feel excluded as a wife specifically, your husband probably shouldn't be allowed to see your child. If you're jealous just because your husband is being a nice father and spending time with his children or his child, and you have less one-on-one time with him, that's simply a repercussion of having children. And if you don't like that to a level that it's becoming a problem, you shouldn't have had children. I know that sounds very harsh, but it is the truth. You should think about these things. If you're going to have children, you're just going to have less one-on-one time with your partner. That's just how life works. And if you're jealous of that because of that, you should see a therapist, because you cannot turn back time. It's not healthy to express jealousy of your children of any kind, especially if it's about the relationship with your partner, because if you're doing that, or if you even think about doing that, it means that something needs to change and that something is not going well within your family. It's not a cute TikTok thing. And side note, fighting violence with the same level of violence is not the way to fix things. Again, this video was kind of meant to be a joke, I think, but if you're jealous of your husband, you're not going to fix it with trying to make him jealous in the same way. That's just not a healthy solution, or a solution at all. Okay, let's move on to the dating within this toxic boy mom situation, because that's a whole other thing.
Girl, I ain't trying to be mean, but before you there was me.
I feel like it's important to mention here that the original post of this video was removed from the internet. I do kind of agree with the call the cops statement of the person that stitched this, because it's very weird. It's very normal to give your child, or your pet for that matter, some kisses sometimes. But that's inherently different from the kisses that you would give to a partner in a romantic way. You shouldn't even think about it in the same way. That's just very creepy, and this is actually the first time, or when I was writing this was actually the first time I thought about it that way, and I was very grossed out to the point where I was actually nauseated. And I'm still grossed out. I don't want to think about this, and neither should anybody. I'm sorry I'm pointing this out even. This is also about the future possibility of your son getting a girlfriend, and I've seen more of these videos with the sound, with the children in them, and those children are most of the time very, very young, and that's even creepier, because why are you even thinking about you shouldn't think about 5-year-olds dating. They will jokingly date, because that's what children do. They copy what they see in their life, but you shouldn't think about the actual romantic kissing part and being his first. That's weird and creepy. A child-parent relationship should be so very different from a romantic partner relationship. I cannot wrap my brain about any of this, and I do think it's actually worse than I thought before even writing this video, because I was like, oh, toxic boy moms, they exist. It's kind of creepy, but like, it's very, very creepy actually, if you start thinking about it. I don't think they are thinking about it as much as I am right now, which is why it exists in the first place. But still, think about something before you post it. That's maybe what I'm saying here. There's actually one other thing we need to talk about, and that's what happens when these children eventually grow up, because they do, and they get married sometimes. So for that, we'll be moving to Reddit, where all the fun things happen. So the post we'll be reading is called Husband 35 is a classic mama's boy, and it's beginning to wear me, wife 29 down. Advice? My husband and mother-in-law have a very strong bond. He's the baby, the one that stayed close to home and the one that talks to her on a daily basis. We live across the street from them in a house they bought for us. Okay, so this kind of reminds me of the time that I was on an exchange in Sicily, in Italy, and the entire family that I was staying with lived in the same street. And my exchange student and her aunts and uncles all lived in the same building even. They had like 3 apartments for each family, or part of the family, and their grandma lived down the street. And from what I could see, because I wasn't very aware of the family dynamics at the time, because it's 7 years ago and I was only there for a short time, but that seemed nice, and they seemed like they were having boundaries and stuff, because you need boundaries if you do that. Like one time we just went to lunch at the grandma's place. Grandma was a sweetie. She made the most delicious lasagna, and I feel so privileged that I got to taste real Italian grandma nonna lasagna, because it was great. Anyways, the point that I'm trying to make here is that this doesn't have to be a problem. It depends on the context, and I feel like the context is going to make this worse, of course, but this doesn't have to be a red flag. The fact that the parents bought the house, though, I don't know, there could be situations where that works nicely. Like, I would gladly take it if my parents could buy me a house, but they can't, which is totally fine, by the way. The fact that your parents would be able to buy you a house is insane, especially in the world we live in right now. I would never expect my parents to be able to do that. They don't need to. But yeah, that could be very nice. And also, if they are like, we will buy you a house, but it has to be in our streets, that is kind of weird or something. But it could be nice, potentially, but I feel like it won't be in this situation. But let's go on. We go to dinner every Sunday with them, and we have dinner at their house on Monday. This sounds utterly exhausting to me. I'm sure that there are people for who this would work and would be nice, but I feel like it doesn't have to be a requirement. You should be able to opt out of these from time to time, and it's a lot to expect from children or from anyone to dine with them twice a week, one time outside of the house in a restaurant and one time at their place. And I do think that connecting with your parents is nice and needs to happen sometimes if you're able to, or in a situation where that is nice, because some people are not. But also children need their own space at a certain point, or like at any point, but like if they're adults, they need to have their own house and be able to not see their parents for a week, because that's how that works with children growing up. They get their own life. Also with your in-laws, by the way, having nice contact with the parents of your partner is very nice, it's very great. However, you should be able to set boundaries, and this is clearly too much. This would be too much for me, and it's clearly too much for OP here, so this shouldn't have to happen. She should be able to set boundaries around this. They watch our child for several hours on Saturday, Sunday and Monday, and always have some sort of criticism or comment on something about my baby/parenting. I have absolutely zero experience with childcare, and yet I'm still going to give my opinion on this, because I feel like parenting is all about common sense. Like, you can read as much parenting books as you want, and I have not done that, and I'm sure there's valuable information in there, but eventually if you have your first child, it's all going to be common sense and instinct. Not all of it, but like a big part of it, because in the prehistoric times they did not have parenting books. They only had like the advice from the people around them and just doing it. You learn as you go. That's with a lot of things. Anyways, I'm still going to give my opinion about this, because parenting is a human thing, and that doesn't mean that every human has to do it, by the way, but it's a human thing, and I have thoughts about this anyway, even though I am not a parent and I have not cared for children a lot or at all. I feel like critiquing the parenting should only happen when you notice that a child is being neglected or in a dangerous situation, or a combination of the two of those. Then you need to say something, have a conversation, or if you can, do something about it. But like, that's the only situation, I think. If your opinion on parenting is different from what you see by your child or your daughter-in-law or friend or whoever, if you have a different opinion about parenting that does not involve around neglect or danger for the child itself, you should keep that for yourself. You can have a conversation about it, in a sense that you can ask why they're doing certain things like they are doing, but you should give people the opportunity to explore themselves. And I feel like every good parent I've seen or heard about knows that they are going to fail at some point, because all parents fail at some point. I feel like the parents that think that they are going to be perfect in any case are the ones that are not the greatest parents. You can share your opinions and you can say that I know it because I've done it several times in this case, so you should do it like I did, and that's not going to happen anyways, so you shouldn't say that. And you should let them fail or do it their own way, because there are multiple ways that are good for parenting based on a lot of different things, and a lot of it is opinions, and you should keep those to yourself in this case, or have a conversation and ask questions about it rather than critique it. Also, the in-laws critique seems mostly or at all times to be targeted at the mom only, the mother or the daughter-in-law, and not at their son, which is weird, because in this case it's two parents that are together caring for their children, so the parenting is a two-people job. So if they're going to critique one person, they should critique the other person too, but it seems like they are not doing that, which makes it weird and is the bigger problem here, I think. It's really unfair for this person, for the OP here. Okay, let's read the rest of it. They buy my baby new shit every week, pay for our lawn service, bought our cars, and of course our house. I've told my husband countless times that I have trouble with how much his parents, mostly mother-in-law, are involved in our lives. He seems to think it's okay and counters with things like, if they didn't pay for this stuff, we couldn't ever vacation. Don't you feel like going to XYZ? Or don't you like a break from the baby and spending one-on-one time with me? I'm pregnant with our second child now, and I think I'm going to have a breakdown and will have to enter counseling again, like in the first pregnancy, due to his mother. So this has happened before with the first child, or this is happening with the first child. She had counseling before and nothing changed, apparently, or not in a way that is enough, at least. She shouldn't be the one in counseling. Like, sure, maybe because it's healthy to process this thing, but I feel like the mother-in-law is the one that needs counseling or like therapy to give her son some freedom. And also I feel like the son needs therapy to make clearer boundaries with his mother, because it's clearly bothering his wife. I'm not sure why it isn't. Maybe it is and he doesn't dare to say anything, which is a problem, and it shouldn't go on like this. My almost breaking point was telling him I didn't want to go far for dinner because I sit in the middle back seat. His mom gets the front seat, and I've been really nauseous. So she said, sure, we'll go close. Then we get in the car and his mother is obviously not happy to be eating near nearby and want to go into town, 25-minute drive. He then proceeded and tried and fish out of her exactly where she wanted to go because he would take her there. Thankfully, she didn't say and we just went nearby, but that hurt. I felt so insignificant. I told him about this incident and how hurt I was, and he apologized and said he felt terrible and that it never happened again. How come I don't believe him? Well, because it has happened before and it keeps happening. You've been to counseling for this and you need to go again. That's a clear sign that he doesn't listen to you or hasn't listened to you in the past, so of course you don't believe him. That makes total sense to me. What can I do to make him put me first? Your pregnant wife gets nauseated by riding in the car in the middle seat in the back of the car, and you don't tell your mom to change out because why wouldn't you? Like, you still let her sit in the front seat. Do you even really care? If I was this OP, I would refuse to go. I'm very clear with my boundaries, hopefully to a lot of people around me, and if I don't want to go somewhere because it makes me feel sick or I need to recover afterwards for too long of a time, I just will not go because that's my boundary. And setting these boundaries has helped me a lot in the past, and I still have friends. So setting boundaries is not something that will hurt that, and if it does, then it's not the relationship for you or for anyone, because boundaries are healthy. And I'm always very proud if my friends or my partner or anyone for that matter sets a boundary with me, because I appreciate that. I appreciate them communicating that to me because I don't want to make them feel bad. And I know that setting boundaries can be very hard and very scary, so that's why I'm proud of them if they do that. Anyway, setting boundaries is healthy, and I wouldn't go, but I get that it's not that easy. With the gift giving, I feel like the mother-in-law wants to be the most important person in the life of her son and her grandchild, and that's not how it's supposed to be at all. Like, children grow up and start a life of their own, and then they get a partner, and probably the partner is going to be the most important person in their life, or their children, or both in a way. I feel like it would be easier for the mother-in-law to look at them and feel happy for them that they have a nice relationship. Well, they don't at the moment, I feel like, but be happy that your son got a great relationship or a person who cares this much about him, because I would have been. This would be such a red flag for me, and I wouldn't be married in the first place, but I don't know the culture or whatever of these people, so that might be different. But also, I would be so happy for my son if this was the case, and I would want to let them have time for themselves to grow together and to have the kids grow up and to fail and to learn again and all those kind of things, but they don't have this space because especially the mother-in-law keeps interfering all the time, and that's just bad. Like, why on earth would you feel the need to push yourself between that? Focus on your own relationship. How does the father-in-law feel about this? But apparently this is what happens when the children of toxic boy moms grow up, which is very still creepy. Alright, I don't really have anything positive to say anymore about toxic boy moms. I thought I would maybe learn a different perspective, and maybe the different perspective is that they don't think things through from the perspective of those prospective girlfriends or partners or wives or anyone that isn't themselves, which doesn't make it a good thing. Obviously, it makes it a worse thing because people need to think about what they do sometimes, and I feel like a lot of people don't do that. For more context, I'm currently working on a project for school. It has to be something that is personal to you but also has to do with society to a certain extent, and I've been asking myself lately a lot about whether the politicians that I don't like is they're harming people very, very badly, whether they have feelings about that or negative feelings specifically about that, because I can feel so sad for the children that don't have the freedom to be a child in a lot of different places in the world, but specifically also in Palestine and Sudan and all those places where there's war specifically, but also for the children that are forced to grow up too fast, also for trans people in America currently especially, but also in other countries because it's forbidden in too many countries, and so many other things. I can feel so sad about it, and I'm like, how can you do that? How can you not want to? You have the power to actually change things. Why won't you do that? And it's all for personal gain and stuff. These toxic boy moms make me feel that in a kind of different or smaller maybe way, because they seem to only think about themselves and their personal gain and losing their sons in a way, but you don't lose your son. You gain something nice, especially in that last case. You gain that you can look at someone that you created and then help grow and then be successful, because having a wife that wants to have children with you is an incredibly beautiful thing, I think. And I think about it and I'm like, how can you not look at others? And okay, so I'm doing my project about that, and I've only started thinking about it like 2 days ago and just doing research right now because that's part of it, and I'm not sure how it's gonna be shaped. I'm just watching some documentaries on people that I really don't like, but everything for research, alright? And I'm learning a lot, but it's hard. Anyways, those people don't seem to think about the repercussions on other people's lives. They only seem to think about their personal gain and making it better for themselves and maybe people like them, but not for people that seem to be different from them. But they're are not all that different. They are also people. Okay, anyways, that was a rant of sorts. Think about the people that you're affecting with your choices. I guess that's what you're never gonna be perfect. You're always going to do stuff that you don't like or that other people don't like. You cannot avoid that, and that's okay. But maybe try to be a positive impact on someone's life, and maybe try to not be a gigantic negative impact on someone else or the same person, whatever. Talk to people, look around you, that kind of stuff. And it doesn't have to be, nobody can save, even those big politicians, they cannot save the world on their own. It doesn't work like that. We're with too many people for that. But something small, like go on Reddit. Maybe they ask something for help or advice and you can help them. Last night I explained the Dutch insurance system to someone that was going to move here, maybe. And because the information they found on the internet was unclear, which I get, and I try my best to explain it in a clear way because there's a lot of different things, and they thanked me for it and made me feel happy because I helped someone. That's also a kind of personal gain, because what I gained from that is a happy feeling that I helped someone, which is completely selfish in a way, but it had a positive impact on someone else too. So then two people have had a positive impact because you did something small, something that only took me like 5 minutes, maybe 10, because it was hard to explain. But anyways, doesn't matter. It was nice. You can be nice to people. Being nice to people is nice. Look around you. Open your eyes. And the world is very interesting and has a lot of different facets, and only looking at yourself and your personal gain and owning, in this case your child, is not what's supposed to happen, I think. Anyways, more to the topic of this video. I don't understand, and I will never understand, loving your child so much that it flows over into being something romantic in a way, or that you express it like that, because those should be two very different kinds of love. Otherwise it's just creepy and gross. And don't come at me with the wait until you get kids of your own, because I won't change my mind about this, and if I apparently do change my mind about this, please make me go to therapy, because it would be wrong and gross and creepy. That's what I think about this. And also think about what you post on the internet. Anyhow, if you like my little video, please press those wonderful shiny like and subscribe buttons. I would appreciate that a lot. Thank you for watching, and then I will see you next time. Ciao!